All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Public Information Officer Victoria Varnado with the Portsmouth Police Department. Today we're joined by Chief of Police Renato Prince, Assistant Chief Nishayla Nelson, Assistant Chief Stephen Jenkins, Interim City Manager Mimi Terry, and Mayor of Portsmouth Sharon Glover. Today we'll be discussing what information we have on the Maple Avenue shooting and address some of the recent gun violence in Portsmouth. There will be some time for brief questions at the end, so let's get into it. Today around 9:36 a.m., officers responded to the 1500 block of Maple Avenue for a reported gunshot wound incident. 3 adult victims sustained fatal gunshot wounds, and 1 additional adult is in critical condition. We are still working to identify victims, notify their families, and are trying to develop suspect information. This is all the information that we have available at this time. Please know that this investigation is in the early stages, and we will continue to update the public with new details as they become available. We thank you for your patience as we continue to investigate and gather facts about this incident. I will now turn the time over to Chief Prince, who will discuss what we know about the recent gun violence we've seen in the last 7 days.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think it's best that we start at the beginning. About a week ago, we had a murder that happened in Hampton Roads, over in Hampton. From there, it leaked over our city in the form of a text message that was posted in social media and went through Portsmouth like the plague. It incited fear, and in my opinion, it encouraged violence. That text message from the victim of the homicide in Hampton was brought up from 2 years ago. Now, to me, to find something like that and post it, you'd have to have a reason. I don't know that someone's intentionally trying to incite violence in our city. There are a lot of things I don't know, though. So let's go over the timeline since that happened. On 6/1, we had a shooting in the 200 block of Avondale that was not gang-related. On the same day, at about 11:49, we had another one at 600 block of 7th Street, not gang-related. There was additional shooting on the 2nd on Town Point Road. We do believe that the target of that incident did have gang ties, so we believe that to be gang-related. On 6/2, we had another shooting in the 2400 block of Stanton Avenue. We believe that to be gang-related. It was a shootout between 2 vehicles, and the victim was actually caught in between. That's why we're saying we think that it was gang-related. It was a running gun battle that somebody unfortunately got caught in the middle of. We had another shooting in the 2200 block of High Street. That was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. On 6/2, we had another shooting on Alden Avenue at Edmonds Place, and that resulted from an argument that led to gunshots being fired between persons that were known to each other. On the 4th, we had a shooting on High Street, and we don't know if that's gang-related or not. We'll find that part out. The suspect does have a gang affiliation, but we have warrants on that suspect, and we're looking for that. That would be a Mr. Blunt. On the 4th, in the 3300 block of Dartmouth Street, we had another, and we have warrants on file for that person, Mr. Riddle. On the 5th, we had a shooting in the 1800 block of Effingham Street. There's a possible gang relation in that shooting. The victim also was caught in a crossfire between another running gun battle. On the 6th, we had a homicide on 4590 Washington Avenue. The victim was a suspect last year. This is possibly a domestic retaliation act, not a gang-related act. On the 7th, we had a shooting in the 7th, on the 1000 block of 7th Street, not gang-related, and we have warrants on file for Mr. Whitaker. Again, on the 7th, we had a shooting this morning that resulted in a triple homicide, and Victoria spoke about that earlier. We don't know the motive or anything yet, but it's an active investigation. We're working on it. Now, I say that, and if you were counting, you didn't see a rampant gang activity. You saw people, or you heard people shooting at each other, missing each other, but shooting innocent bystanders. Our city should be enraged. I know I am. Who are these people? Well, I can give you 5 names right now, and I will, that we have arrested, other agencies in Hampton Roads have arrested, and they're still on our streets. The names: Tyquan Blunt, Cedric Davis, Bobby Petty Jr., Arenata Blunt, Raekwon Rucker. All of these people have active warrants on file right now, and yes, we're looking for them, but so is the rest of Hampton Roads. The question is, why are they still on our streets after being arrested by police departments across Hampton Roads? That's one of our major issues. I need to say to the people of Portsmouth, don't let the post on social media go too far in your head. Think for yourself. Ask why. I want to say to the people who are watching that the people standing around me and with me, this is a team of Portsmouth. Every resource that this city has to offer, and some that they don't, we are using to address the crime in our city, as well as the federal partners and everything else that I can think of in my 40 years of experience, my 2 assistant chiefs, and other chiefs that we have conversations with. The city manager, Ms. Terry Mimi, the mayor, has dedicated every resource that we have. We're missing one piece. We're missing the action of our citizens. Somebody listening knows what led to a shooting. Somebody listening knows who a shooter was. Somebody listening has not yet been affected by the violence in our city. Don't wait for it to be your turn before you decide to open your mouth to say something. My police department is good. The city's good. We are aggressive, we are active, but we're not psychic. If we don't have the community giving us those hints, those clues, those leads that we can follow up on, we are powerless. I understand the fear of retribution. I understand that you will say that you live here. Guess what, Portsmouth? I live here too. When you're ready and you're angry enough to take action, we are here for you and with you. Again, we take action and arrest these people over and over. I gave you a listing of names of people who we know for a fact are shooters. A listing of people who we know for a fact have offended, been arrested, offended, released over and over again. I stand here before you asking Portsmouth for your support. This is my city. This is my city. I will not bow down. I will not stop. We will use everything, every resource that we have to find the offenders that are committing these crimes, but we still need your help. This is a us thing. It's not a police thing. It's not a city manager thing. If anybody's telling you that, they're telling you the wrong thing. You need to be involved. Engage. When you engage, we all win. We have a safe community. I'll leave it there.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start opening the floor for questions.
Chief, is there, or you're saying some of them are gang related, you believe in some of them not. Do you think that there is a gang war going on? Would you give a little bit more about like the issues between these groups of people?
So that's what social media is trying to make it, a gang war. What we find during our investigation is most of the assaults that we see on that device that you're holding in your hand. People need to remember that most of our young people live off of their cell phone. All of their friends are in that group. If I cast a dispersion upon you, it just went out to their entire world. They take that insult and they believe they have to act on that insult. It used to be fistfights, not anymore. It's guns. So that's the way they're resolving it. Unfortunately, with cell phones being the way we live, we've lost the art of conversation. There are no conversations anymore. There are no arguments anymore. There's action. The insults received, they hunt the person down and shoot them wherever they find them.
And how, when we know there's shortages of police staff, how short through right now with officers, and when you're also, when you're speaking about resources that are being brought in, specifically what kind of resources? And is it the National Guard or anything like that being brought in to help you guys?
No, we're not calling the National Guard. We partnered with the state police. We have some of their resources at our disposal. I have all of my people working right now. As far as staffing goes right now, it doesn't matter because I have everything that I have will be deployed on the streets. So when we start looking at resources around this area, we also have our federal partners, which I have contacts with the FBI, DEA, ATF, and they're willing to jump in. So we're going to have a good response.
So you could put that request in already?
To certain ones of them, yeah.
Okay.
Just a question for the chief and also for the mayor. We are out today, all of us were out on the scene earlier today, and community members were saying that they want to see y'all on the streets. They want to be able to talk to you guys on the streets after this incident. What message do you have for community members to let them know you are listening to them, you are hearing them, and hearing their concerns?
I'm not sure who you spoke with, but
Neighbors in the area who came out and saw the police presence, saw what happened, saw family members crying on the side, and said they want to see their city leaders out there.
Okay, I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but I'm at Civic League meetings. I'm all over the place. So I'm available. I walk down the street and talk to people all over the place. So I don't know what else I can do. I have the little social media posts that I do, Chief's Corner, and we take emails, we take questions. It's one me. I can't be every place. I do the best that I can with the one me that I have. But if you want to talk to me, if you want to see me, my me rides around in a patrol car answering service calls. It's a bunch of us out there, and we do the best that we can. If my me that they come into contact with, whatever that officer's name is, isn't performing up to their expectations, they can give us a call and we'll see if we can do better.
Mayor, do you want a chance to respond to this?
No, the only thing I'll say is that we are all very much engaged and concerned about what's happening in our community, and our condolences go out to the families of victims of gun violence. I just returned from the U.S. Conference of Mayors in Reno, Nevada, and I can assure you that throughout the country, this is a major concern for many cities. The reality is, all of us, we are in our community. This is our community. When one grieves, we all grieve because we are one Portsmouth family. So our concern will always be demonstrated. And our number one priority is to ensure the safety and security of the citizens of the city of Portsmouth.
Mayor, what do you think?
Sorry.
On the shootings that have gone on?
Do you had a question?
Sure, yeah. I do think that's important that you brought up, but you had mentioned that you've arrested these people before, they have warrants out, so what's the problem? Is it the courts? Are they being let out on bail? If you've arrested these people and you're saying that they have warrants out for them, that they're allegedly responsible for shootings, why are they still on the streets? Is the court dropping the ball here?
I can't say it's the courts, but something in our system is not working correctly. I'm not trying to shift blame, but the police departments, we're doing our part. We're the ones that arrest people who violate the law. That's our primary function, regardless of what anybody else might say, and we're doing that. But we still see these people on the streets.
Right.
I don't have a good answer to you.
Those 5 that you listed earlier, what were the charges that they previously?
Gun charges,
What is it?
gun charges.
You had a question?
Before I go, this morning when you were out there, I was too, and so were my command staff. We get out and we show up.
Were y'all on the command unit? Were y'all on the command unit, the mobile command unit?
No, sir, that's where my detectives were brainstorming. I probably left before you got there, because I don't recall seeing you out there.
That's my question, I apologize. In one of the more recent Chief's Corner videos that I was watching, it said that shots fired were actually down something like 37%. Is
Yeah.
that still the case, or does the last week change that?
I hadn't looked recently, but the last graph that I saw, shots fired were actually down. That seems strange, but based on the information that we gather in, they are down compared to the same time last year. What people have to realize is that we are still coming out of COVID, and we're trying to find a norm. COVID was not a norm. That was something completely different. So if we're looking at the numbers that we had this time last year, we're wrong. well, burglaries are up and all this other stuff. You can't burgle a house that somebody's actually sitting in there. So naturally, those crimes were down. This year, people went back to work. Those crimes are up. The same thing for the people being assaulted. They weren't on the streets to be shot. They were at home. The same thing for robberies. People were at home. People are emerging, and we're going back to the norm. And I think to find our baseline, we have to look at, I think the year is 2019. And then we'll get a true comparison on where we're at. We got used to that lull that was there, and now we're peaking back up to the way that we truly were prior to COVID.
All right.
How many police officer positions do you guys have right now?
I did not check lately, so I'll give you the wrong number.
When is the shot
That's-
fire stuff done for the
We are in the final stages as far as funding it, and as soon as we get everything signed up and the city says go, we've done all the legwork. And I know we just spoke about the actual funding yesterday, so I'm hoping that's going to happen pretty soon.
All right, that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you all for being here.